You yell, "Turn it off," and suddenly you are the enemy in your own living room. That daily meltdown over screens isn't just annoying, it is quietly eroding the trust and connection you have with your child right now. Most parenting advice tells you to just take the device away, but that actually makes the obsession worse. By the end of this, you will know exactly how to set limits that your kids actually respect without the screaming. Picture this. It is 6:30 in the evening. Dinner is almost ready, and the house smells great. You walk into the living room and ask your child to pause the game and come to the table. They don't even look up. They just mutter, "Just one more minute," their eyes locked on the screen, fingers moving frantically across the controller. 10 minutes pass. You walk back in, a little more frustrated this time, and tell them time is up. You reach over and turn off the console or take the device from their hands. The explosion is instant. They are yelling, crying, calling you unfair, and acting like their entire world has just collapsed. If this sounds familiar, I want you to take a deep breath and know you are not alone. Almost every parent navigating the digital age has been standing in that exact spot, feeling a mix of exhaustion, frustration, and guilt. But to fix this, we have to understand what is actually happening in your child's brain in that moment. We tend to look at their reaction and see defiance. We think they are just being stubborn or trying to push our boundaries. But that is only part of the story. Modern video games are masterfully engineered to keep the brain engaged. When your child is playing, their brain is releasing dopamine, the chemical associated with reward and motivation. They are in a state of deep flow. They are solving complex problems, reacting to split-second visual cues, and working toward a clear goal. When you suddenly demand they stop, you are not just asking them to put down a toy. You are abruptly cutting off a massive neurological reward loop. Think about what would happen if you were reading the most gripping, thrilling chapter of a book you absolutely love, and someone suddenly snatched the book out of your hands and told you to go fold laundry. You would be irritated, right? You would feel jarred and disoriented. Now multiply that feeling by 10, because the game is providing a level of sensory and neurological engagement that a book simply cannot match. When we yank them out of that state without warning, it is like waking someone from a deep sleep and immediately yelling at them. Their brain literally goes into a mild fight or flight response. Now here is where it gets interesting. The traditional parenting advice for this problem is to just be stricter. Set a hard timer, enforce a strict cutoff, and if they argue, take the game away for the next day. But there was one real problem with this approach. It almost always creates a power struggle. When you act as the time police, your child feels controlled rather than guided. They start hiding their screen time, they rush through their homework just to get to the game, and the console becomes this forbidden, highly desired prize. Most parents never notice this, but the goal isn't to win a daily battle of wills. The goal is to teach your child how to transition smoothly and eventually manage their own time. To do that, we need to shift our role from the enforcer to the transition guide. And this one small shift changes everything. The first practical strategy is to stop demanding they pause at an arbitrary time and start helping them find a natural break. You cannot pause an online multiplayer game. If you tell your teenager to pause a live match, they literally cannot do it without letting their entire team down and facing severe penalties in the game. Instead of giving a generic 15-minute warning, get specific. Walk up to them, put a hand gently on their shoulder to break their visual trance, and ask, "When is a good stopping point in this level?" Imagine this. You ask them that question, and they say, "I need to finish this match. It will take about 10 minutes. You say, "Perfect, I will come back in 10 minutes," and you walk away. When you return, they are already at a natural stopping point. They haven't been abruptly pulled from a high-stakes moment. They feel respected because you acknowledge the reality of how the game works. You are no longer the enemy interrupting their flow. You are a partner helping them navigate it. But getting them to the stopping point is only half the battle. The other half is getting them off the couch and into the real world. Going from the high dopamine environment of a video game to the low dopamine environment of doing chores or eating dinner is a massive sensory drop. They need a bridge. If you just tell them to go wash their hands and sit at the table, the transition is too jarring. You need to create a buffer zone. This could be a physical reset, like having them do 10 jumping jacks or stretch for a minute to get blood flowing and reset their nervous system. It could be a sensory shift, like turning on a specific song in the kitchen or lighting a candle to change the atmosphere of the house. Or it could be a culinary bridge, like handing them a small, healthy snack the moment they put the controller down. The bridge gives their brain a few minutes to gently downshift from the digital world back into the physical one. If you want calmer, more confident parenting in a screen-filled world, sticking around is probably the simplest way to stay one step ahead of what your kids are facing, because the digital landscape changes faster than any single rulebook can keep up with. Once you have the transitions working, you need to look at how you are using the game as a bargaining chip. This is a trap so many of us fall into without realizing it. We say things like, if you finish your homework, you can have an hour of gaming, or if you don't clean your room, no video games today. What happened next surprised even me when I realized I was doing this. By tying screen time to behavior, we accidentally elevate the game to the status of the ultimate reward. We make it seem like the most valuable, desirable thing in their world. When the game becomes the ultimate prize, of course they are going to fight tooth and nail to keep it, and of course they are going to be devastated when it is taken away as a punishment. To break this cycle, you have to decouple the game from their behavior. Screen time should just be a normal, expected part of their day, just like watching a television show, reading a book, or playing outside. It is not a reward for good behavior, and it is not a punishment for bad behavior. When you normalize it, the emotional charge around the console drops significantly. The battles naturally start to fade because the game is no longer the golden ticket. If you are exhausted by the daily screen time battles and just want a clear, step-by-step way to handle this without the tears, I put together a free sample chapter of my Parenting in the Digital Age Guide. It breaks down exactly how to navigate these gaming boundaries and online safety without the constant conflict, giving you practical scripts and strategies you can use tonight. You can grab that free chapter linked right below in the description. Once the emotional charge is lowered, you can move on to the most powerful strategy of all, which is collaborative boundary setting. Kids are far more likely to follow rules they helped create, but you cannot have this conversation while they are holding a controller or right after a meltdown. You have to do it when things are calm. Sit down with them at the kitchen table on a weekend morning, completely away from any screens. Ask them for their input. Ask them how much time they feel is fair to play during the week versus the weekend. Ask them what they think is a reasonable warning time before they need to stop. Ask them how they want to be reminded when time is almost up. When you involve them in the process, you shift the dynamic from you imposing rules on them to you and them solving a problem together. One dad I spoke with recently tried this with his 10-year-old son. They sat down and agreed on 45 minutes of gaming on school nights. The dad asked his son how he wanted to be reminded. The son said, "Just tell me 10 minutes before, but don't come in the room and stand over me." The dad agreed. A few days later, when the 10-minute mark hit, the dad just called out from the hallway. The son yelled back, "Thanks, Dad," wrapping up this level. And he actually turned it off on time. Because he had a say in the rule, he felt ownership over it. Of course, even with the best collaborative plan in place, they will still test the boundaries. They will still ask for 5 more minutes when the time is up. They might even have a bad day and blow up when you hold the line. This is where you have to become the calm anchor. When they start arguing or getting angry, your instinct is to argue back, to remind them of the rule, to raise your voice to be heard over theirs. But you cannot reason with a dysregulated brain. When they're in that state of frustration, their logical brain has essentially gone offline. If you argue with them, you are just pouring fuel on the fire. Instead, validate the frustration and hold the boundary with absolute calm. Say something like, "I know it is really hard to stop when you are in the middle of a great match. I get it. But our time is up for today. You can try again tomorrow." And then you stop talking. You do not justify, you do not argue, you do not negotiate. You just hold the boundary with a warm but firm demeanor. Your calm nervous system will eventually help co-regulate theirs. They will learn that while they are allowed to be frustrated, the boundary is not going to move. And this one small shift changes everything. You are no longer just trying to get them to turn off the console today. You are actively teaching them how to self-regulate. You are showing them how to handle disappointment, how to transition between tasks, and how to respect limits. These are the exact skills they will need when they are older and facing the endless distractions of social media, streaming services, and the broader digital world. As they get older, you can start giving them more autonomy with their time. Instead of managing the clock for them, give them a block of time and let them manage it themselves. Tell them they have 2 hours of screen time this afternoon, and it is entirely up to them how they break it up. If they burn through it all in the first 30 minutes, they have to live with the natural consequence of being done for the day. It is much better for them to learn this lesson now, in the safety of your home, than to learn it later when the stakes are much higher. But we also have to remember that the best way to reduce a child's obsession with the digital world is to make the offline world genuinely appealing. We cannot just tell them to go play outside or find something else to do. We have to help them find it. Think about the contrast between the isolation of gaming and the connection of family time. Video games are highly engaging, but they're often solitary experiences, even when played with friends online. The real world needs to offer the warmth, connection, and joy that the screen cannot provide. This means putting your own phone down. It means initiating a family board game night, cooking a meal together, building a fire pit in the backyard, or just going for a walk without any devices. When the offline world is filled with genuine connection and fun, the pull of the screen naturally weakens. What is the one screen time rule that actually works in your home? Let me know in the comments, because I read every single one, and we can all learn from what is working for your family. Hearing your real-world experiences helps all of us navigate this tricky landscape a little bit better. At the end of the day, the goal of setting video game boundaries is not to create a house with 0 screens. That is neither realistic nor necessary. The goal is to create a home where screens do not control the mood, where technology is a tool for enjoyment rather than a source of constant conflict, and where your relationship with your child remains the strongest connection in the room. It takes patience, it takes consistency, and it takes a willingness to try a different approach. But when you stop fighting the technology and start guiding your child through it, you will find that the battles fade and the connection remains.